She handed him the invitation. He looked at her dress, her shoes, her face, and slid it back across the marble. "Ma'am, this event is invitation only." She didn't blink. "I know." His smile didn't reach his eyes. The ballroom was 3 steps away. Through the glass doors she could see chandeliers, laughter, women in gowns that cost what some people made in a year. This gala raised millions. She knew, because she'd written the first check herself. But the man in the tuxedo, young, confident, clipboard in hand, was still standing between her and the entrance. "Ma'am, I'm going to need you to step aside. You're holding up the line." Behind her, a couple in matching black ties shifted impatiently. She folded the invitation carefully, slipped it back into her clutch, and that's when she felt it. That old familiar weight, the one she thought she'd left behind. This is a golden heart story for anyone who's ever walked into a room and been told, without words, that they don't belong. Before we continue, tell me in the comments, have you ever been judged before someone even knew your name? Her name was Lydia Grant, 52 years old, CEO of Grant Global Industries. Net worth, let's just say Forbes had stopped asking for confirmation. But tonight, standing outside the Metropolitan Arts Center in a sleeveless midnightable gown she'd had custom-made in Paris, none of that mattered, because the man at the door saw something else. She saw it in his eyes. The quick once-over, the tightness around his mouth, the way his hand hovered near his radio. Lydia had spent 30 years building her empire from nothing. She'd been underestimated in boardrooms from New York to Tokyo. She'd heard every version of "Are you sure you're in the right place?" that existed. She thought she'd risen above it. But tonight she was just a black woman in a gown, holding an invitation to an event she had funded, being told she didn't look like she belonged. The man's name was Owen Harrell, 47, event coordinator for the Metropolitan Arts Center. He'd been doing this for 6 years, managing galas, weddings, corporate events. He prided himself on running things smoothly. No drama, no gatecrashers, no mistakes. He had a daughter, 10 years old. Brilliant. He was raising her alone after his wife passed 4 years ago. He worked doubles most weeks just to keep her in a good school. Tonight was supposed to be simple. Check names, scan invitations, smile, direct people inside. But when the woman in the blue gown approached, something intensed. He didn't know why. Maybe it was the way she walked, too calm, too certain. Maybe it was that she'd arrived alone, no +1, no entourage. Maybe it was something uglier, something he didn't want to admit lived in him. Whatever it was, he looked at her invitation, looked at her face, and made a choice. "Ma'am, I don't see your name on the list." Lydia's jaw tightened. "Check again." "Oh, and didn't. I'm sorry, but unless you have confirmation from the event coordinator, I can't let you in." She stared at him, and for just a moment, neither of them moved. "You want me to call someone?" Lydia's voice was quiet, controlled. Owen shifted his weight. "If you have a contact." "I shouldn't need one." "Ma'am, I'm just doing my job." "Are you?" The words hung between them. Behind her, the couple in black tie exchanged glances. The woman whispered something. The man smirked. Lydia felt the heat crawl up her neck. Not anger, shame. And she hated that she felt it. Owen cleared his throat. "Look, if there's been some kind of mix-up, we can sort it out inside, but right now, I need you to step aside so I can check in the other guests." Lydia didn't move. "What's your name?" Owen blinked. "Excuse me." "Your name. I'd like to know it." He hesitated. "Then Owen Harrell." She repeated it slowly. "Owen Harrell." Something in her tone made him uneasy. "Ma'am, I'll step aside." She moved to the left near a marble column, her hands folded in front of her. Owen exhaled and turned back to the couple behind her, all warmth and apologies. So sorry for the wait. Welcome, welcome. Lydia watched him laugh with them, watched him skin their invitations without a second glance, watched them glide past her into the golden light of the ballroom. And she stood there, alone, invisible. Lydia pulled out her phone. One call. That's all it would take. Her assistant, her PR team, hell, the mayor was inside that ballroom right now, probably holding a champagne flute she had paid for. But she didn't make the call, because part of her wanted to see how far this would go, how long she could stand here, in plain sight before someone recognized her, before someone saw her. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Guests streamed past. Some glanced at her, most didn't. A woman in a gold gown paused, looked her up and down, then whispered something to her husband. Lydia's chest tightened. And then, "Miss Grant?" The voice was small and certain. Lydia turned. A young woman stood a few feet away. Mid-20s, black, wearing a staff uniform. White shirt, black vest, name tag that read Jasmine. Her eyes were wide. I'm sorry, I don't mean to bother you, but are you Lydia Grant?" Lydia's throat closed. "Yes." Jasmine's hand flew to her mouth. "Oh my God, I thought I saw you standing here and I wasn't sure." But as she looked toward the entrance, then back at Lydia, "Why are you out here?" Lydia didn't answer right away. Jasmine's face shifted. Understanding dawned. "They didn't let you in." It wasn't a question. Lydia's silence was answer enough. Jasmine's expression hardened. "Come with me." Jasmine led her through a side entrance, staff only past the kitchen, through a narrow hallway that smelled like garlic and expensive perfume. She didn't say anything until they reached a door marked Administration. Then she stopped, turned. "Miss Grant, I just want you to know your scholarship program, that's how I'm in college right now. I wouldn't be here without you." Lydia's eyes stung. "What's your major?" "Business administration." Lydia smiled. "A real one." "Good." Jasmine pushed open the door. Inside, 3 people in headsets were coordinating the event. One of them, a woman in her 60s. Silver hair pulled into a tight bun, looked up sharply. "Jasmine, you're supposed to be on the floor." "Miss Calloway, this is Lydia Grant." The room went silent. Miss Calloway stood slowly, her face drained of color. "Miss Grant, there's a man at the front entrance," Lydia said calmly. "Owen Harrell, he refused me entry." Miss Calloway's mouth opened, closed. That's impossible." And yet, Miss Calloway grabbed her radio. "Security, I need Owen Harrell in my office immediately." Static. Then copy. Lydia looked at Jasmine. "Thank you." Jasmine nodded, eyes shining, and quietly left the room. Owen arrived 3 minutes later. He stepped into the office, confident, unaware. "You needed me, Miss Calloway." Then he saw Lydia, and froze. Miss Calloway's voice was ice. "Mr. Harrell, would you like to explain why Lydia Grant, the primary donor of tonight's event, was denied entry at the front door?" Owen's face went gray. I didn't, You didn't what?" "I didn't know." "You didn't know," Lydia repeated softly, "because you didn't ask." Owen turned to her, and for the first time, she saw something other than confidence in his face. She saw fear. "Miss Grant, I am so sorry. You looked at me and decided I didn't belong." "No, Yes," Lydia said, "you did." Silence. Miss Calloway's jaw was tight. "Mr. Harrell, you're dismissed from tonight's event. We'll discuss your employment status on Monday." Owen's breath hitched. Miss Calloway, please. I have a daughter, I can't. You should have thought of that before you. Wait. Lydia's voice cut through the room. Everyone looked at her. She studied Owen. Really looked at him. Saw the fear, the exhaustion, the shame. And she made a choice. Miss Calloway, I'd like to speak with Mr. Harrell. Alone. Miss Calloway hesitated. Miss Grant, you don't have to. I know. Miss Calloway nodded slowly. And left. The door closed. Lydia and Owen stood in the small office. The noise of the gala muffled beyond the walls. Owen's hands were shaking. Miss Grant, sit. He sat. Lydia remained standing. Do you know why I'm here tonight, Owen? He shook his head. This gala raises money for arts education in underserved communities. I grew up in one of those communities. I didn't have access to music lessons, theater programs, museum trips, none of it. She paused. I built my company so that other kids wouldn't have to go without the way I did. Owen's eyes were red. I'm sorry. I know you are. I'm not. He couldn't finish. Lydia sat down across from him. Tell me about your daughter. Owen looked up, confused. What? Your daughter. Tell me about her. He hesitated. Then her name's Ava. She's 10. She loves to draw. Wants to be an animator. Does she take art classes? Owen's face tightened. I can't afford them. Lydia nodded slowly. So you know what it's like. To want something better for your child. To work yourself to the bone just to keep the lights on. Yes. Then why, Owen? Why did you look at me and assume I didn't belong? His throat worked. I don't know. Yes, you do. Silence. Then, finally, because you didn't look like the other people coming in. Lydia's chest ached. And what do they look like? Owen closed his eyes. I'm sorry. I need you to say it. White, he whispered. They look white. And wealthy. And I saw you, and You made an assumption. Yes. Lydia let the silence sit. Then do you think you're the only one? Owen looked at her, confused. The only one who's ever looked at me and seen something other than who I am? He didn't answer. I've been stopped in stores, followed by security. Ask if I work somewhere I'm shopping. I've had people assume I'm the assistant, not the CEO. I've had men interrupt me in meetings to ask if I can take notes. She leaned forward. And every single time I've had a choice. To let it harden me. Or to remember that I'm building something bigger than one moment of ignorance. Owen's voice cracked. I don't deserve your grace. No, Lydia said. You don't. His head dropped. But I'm going to give it to you anyway. Owen looked up, stunned. What? You made a mistake, a big one. But firing you doesn't teach you anything. It just makes you afraid. Miss Grant, I want you to stay tonight, finish your shift, and I want you to watch. Watch what? Me? She stood. I want you to see who I am, what I built. And I want you to ask yourself what you almost took from me. Owen's eyes filled. I will. And on Monday, you're going to enroll your daughter in the youth arts program we fund here. His breath caught. I can't afford. It's a scholarship, full ride. She'll have access to drawing classes, animation workshops, portfolio development. Owen couldn't speak. Lydia walked to the door. Paused. But Owen? Yes? If I ever hear that you've treated someone the way you treated me tonight, anyone, for any reason, I will make sure you never work in this city again. Her voice was quiet. Still. Do you understand? Yes, ma'am. She opened the door and walked out. Lydia entered the ballroom through the main doors this time. Heads turned. Conversations paused. She walked slowly, her heels clicking against the marble, her head high. The mayor saw her first. Lydia. He crossed the room, arms open, completely unaware of what had just happened. She smiled, shook his hand, played the part. But inside, something had shifted. She looked around the room. At the gowns, the jewels, the laughter. At the people who belonged here without question. And she realized she didn't want to be in rooms where she had to prove herself anymore. She wanted to build new ones. If this story reminds you of a time you had to prove your worth to someone who should have seen it from the start, share it. You're not alone. 3 months later, Lydia stood in front of a new building. The Grant Center for Arts and Innovation. It wasn't a gala. It wasn't a charity event. It was a permanent space, funded entirely by her, open to any child, any family, anyone who wanted to create and didn't have a place to do it. Ava Harrell was in the first animation class. Owen stood at the back of the room during the ribbon cutting, watching his daughter draw on a tablet she never thought she'd be able to touch. When Lydia finished her speech, she found him in the crowd. He met her eyes, mouthed 2 words. "Thank you." She nodded and turned back to the kids. That night, Lydia sat alone in her office. No gala, no gown, just her, a cup of tea, and the quiet. Her phone buzzed. A message from Jasmine. "Miss Grant, I got into the graduate program. Full scholarship. Thank you for believing in me." Lydia smiled. Typed back, "You did that. I just opened a door." She set the phone down. And for the first time in years, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Not pride. Not vindication. Peace. Thank you for spending this time with Golden Heart Stories. If this story moved you, please like and subscribe. Your support helps us keep telling stories that matter. And tell me in the comments, what part of this story stayed with you the most? We'll see you in the next one. Until then, keep your heart open.